welcome. It's Lori Brown with our second edition, Hey Nurses, What's Next? How Nurses Became Business Owners and Successful Entrepreneurs. And today, my special guest is Claire Hall. Welcome, Claire.
Hi, Lori. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. I've been wanting to have you on this for a long time. I think you're amazing, and I think our guests will think so too. So get ready, everybody. You're in for a wonderful ride and a great treat. So Claire, how is it that you tell us about your business?
Well, actually, I have two businesses, and at one time I had three going, so I stay pretty busy. One business is Juris Educational Resource Knowledge, which we lovingly refer to as the JERK. And that is filled with legal nurse consultants. The other business I have is called Nurse Entrepreneur Network, and that has nurses who are entrepreneurs, some aesthetics, some all different types of fields. Actually, it's very interesting. It's fun, and we pretty much keep that going on LinkedIn. And those two. I started the JERK first. I started Juris Educational Resource Knowledge first, and it was originally done. Sort of, if you wonder how I got the name The JERK, it was started as tongue-in-cheek. I was going to write a newspaper called Juris Educational Resource Knowledge for our legal nurse consultants. And the newspaper didn't go over very well. And I happened to have 20 friends, 30 friends that I was talking with at the time. And so that eventually got to a listserv, which eventually got to hundreds. And it turned out, and I made us private because it was just a safer environment for us to chit chat and very casually chit chat. And then I also do teaching on the side, like mentoring on the side, just here and there. Just
and as you also do legal nurse consulting yourself, right?
Oh, yes. And that company was Juriscope. And you can see I kept that Juris. This was 22 years ago, but I had it for a long time, that company. So it was eventually sold to Southern Rehab Network, which was a case management company. My legal nurse consultant business was sold to a case management company who then hired me to do the work, and they kept the name Juris Educational Resource Knowledge. When I got sick, I had to leave that environment. So they actually, though, when I left, they actually brought down the company. They wouldn't keep it, even though I told them I could furnish it with hundreds of legal nurse consultants who wouldn't complain in the least. They really just wanted to. So now I just do independent as I'm able, just as I want to, or as I find an interest in a topic, I'll pick up a case here and there.
So how did you get the idea to start your business?
Actually, the only thing that was available back when I was learning was Vicki Malazzo's course. And I took that. It was 22 years ago, or however, actually it's longer than that. It was 1998, I think, or 99. It's right in there. So however long that is. And I took her course, and it was really the only thing that was available at the time for independent legal nursing. Of course, there's always the option of working with an attorney, but I just preferred to stay independent. So I got it from there, and I went to one or two of her conferences, and of course took her course, but I went to one or two of her conferences, and I really enjoyed her. I enjoyed her energy. I think she gave me a really good foundation for what I needed, but it was a foundation, and then you build upon it. But I referred back to her books many times. She's an excellent author for legal nursing. She's excellent. She's a nurse attorney too. So she's just, it's wonderful. She talks like a nurse.
So how did you get the courage to quit your day job?
Oh, well, I didn't do that for many years. I had Juriscope going, and I had Juriscope going, and I was working Lockheed Martin and Aerojet cases at the time. And they didn't come to an end for a very long time. They didn't come to an end for 2 or 3 years. And so, but my business was very strong, and it was going very, very well. I mean, well enough for somebody else to take an interest in it. So my business was going very strong, very well. I didn't have any problems there at all. And I also worked in case management, though. So I kept both companies, I kept both of those professions going. I was a legal nurse consultant on the side, and then I was a case manager. In fact, it was my work as a case manager that brought Southern Rehab to me, and they said, would you like to come work for me? And I said, no, actually, I have a business going on the side, which they didn't mind. They didn't care. And they said, that's all right. We'll buy the business and we'll buy you too. So that's kind of what they did. And it was good for both of us, I think. It was a working relationship for both of us. And they were just friends that I had made. It's contacts and friends and things like that. Of course, you have to keep things going. Got to market.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, great. So what was your biggest obstacle in starting your business? Or I'm sorry, that you had to overcome as a business owner?
Yeah, I think, you know what, if I wrote this one time in one of the books published by Pat Iyer, and it was really, I can't stress enough that I wish somebody would have come up to me and said, I don't know anything about business. You know everything you need to know as a nurse to get into this business. That's why testifying experts can fly in so easily. But you don't know the business side, nor the competition, nor those things where you run into snags. And I think my biggest obstacle has been myself. I had a very hard time approaching attorneys. I was just talking about that with a group that I met with earlier today. And the first attorney meeting for me was disastrous. It was absolutely disastrous. It's because I was extremely intimidated by authority. And so I just came from that environment, and I was very intimidated by it. I went into an attorney's office the first time and couldn't speak. Couldn't get the words out of my mouth. And then he yelled at me. He yelled at me. It could only happen to Claire, but he yelled at me. He said, Miss Hull, I can't hear you. And when he did that, I cowered, and I said, it's because you're intimidating me. And he said, I'm intimidating you. And then he thought that was so funny that he was so intimidating me. He's lucky I didn't leave a puddle on the floor. Can I say that?
I love that. No, that is so true, because as nurses,
I was scared to death.
Yeah, because as nurses, we are so intimidated when we're a new nurse by the doctors, and now we tell doctors what to do. But unlike doctors, attorneys don't have that knowledge that we have, so they are looking to us for our expertise. So there's nothing to be intimidated about yet. Yeah. It happens to all of us.
Well, I think when you don't understand that big picture, it's kind of the thing of knowing what to charge and how to charge it. You don't understand where the money comes from, how that money works, what the flow is, and so forth and so on. And so, you adjust your hourly rate, or you do all kinds of things to try and accommodate. It's all because you don't understand. And that's what I mean about the business side. Yeah. I always looked at my business like I look at each business too that way, that there are two sides. One side is sort of the me side, the things I offer, the things I can compliment or do for somebody. And the other side is my business side. And that's a little more shrewd. It's a little more cautious. I don't know how else to say that. It's a little more savvy. It's a little savvy. Yeah. Savvier than I am in my casual world of myself.
Yeah.
Well, but you have to learn all that. You have to learn.
Exactly. I mean, people know how to be a legal nurse consultant because you're a nurse, and that's
Right.
what the attorneys are hiring you for. But you
That's
have
right.
to know the business skills
That's right.
and don't undercut yourself. There are so
Mm.
many legal nurse consultants out there who are either undercharging or giving it away for free to think that they're going to get a case. And, if it's free, it's not a value and you get what you pay for. So
Oh,
don't lose
a
your
lot of
self-worth over it.
well, yeah, and a lot of people think that, you have to have an attorney to teach you. And that isn't necessarily so. You know, in court, everything is written. Everything. It's why they have a recorder in court. So unless you can really write with an understanding, write with a comprehension, that a nurse's fault, our biggest fault is probably just bulleting everything we do, which is pretty typical because we write on bed sheets. Um, but but it's important to learn how, what an adjective is and what a noun is. And if you don't know how to write or compose yourself in that manner, it can be an uphill battle for you, because that's your product. Your
Yes.
report is your product. That's 100% what you're selling.
And you can't write in nursingese. You've got to write
Right.
full sentences, grammatically correct, just like you were going to write a brief for a court, is what I say.
That's right. That's right. And printing out and it doesn't necessarily mean lengthy. It just means that my one attorney used to look at me and go, Miss Hull, it's brevity, brevity, brevity. He wanted me to cut it short, cut things short. And short is not always easy. It's learning to say things in a concise manner and taking a full, maybe 3-4 pages and turning them into one sentence. And it can be very complex. Simple is not easy.
Yes, definitely. So how can our listeners find out more about JERC?
Oh, please do join us. It's a private listserv, and it's www.thejerklnc.com. Juris
Great.
Educational Resource Knowledge. Mm-hmm.
And every year, Claire puts on this amazing conference for legal nurse consultants.
Thank you.
And
we did that for 11 years. We did that.
Yeah.
This year kind of put we've sort of had a, sour sock thrown into the conference coordination, but the team of Juris Educational Resource Knowledge nurses, our conference team, is working on putting together a virtual conference. It's not the same.
It's not.
No, we had such a ball. I mean, we've had some wonderful conferences and good memories with new legal nurses and old seasoned nurses as well.
Yeah, it's amazing, and the content that they provide and the speakers that they provide are just unparalleled.
Thank you. Well, you've had your share of presentations there too, so we always love Lori Brown. Even my nurses they're waiting for you, the members. They're waiting for you to come visit.
Aw, well, thank you. So lastly, what would you say is like the best advice you can give somebody who wants to start their own business?
I think I would go for the Small Business Association contacts. Get a business plan. Even though that sounds cumbersome and like something you don't want to do, something you think you don't need because you're working independently, I've heard all the excuses. The truth is, for people who have their own business, you can tell when someone has a business plan from a mile away versus someone who does not. And if you think that an attorney isn't a sole worker, an independent autonomous worker, you're very mistaken there. They have their own businesses. They understand about setting up a business. They understand about all the mechanics to that business and all the headaches that go along with it. And I guess that it's sort of this mutual admiration or mutual understanding that you come to with someone who's taken the time to develop a plan and have goals and just an organized method at approaching what they want to be, their own success. So I would recommend going to a small business association where they have little forms you can fill out. They teach you very quickly how to make a business plan. And if you're unsure, they have free mentors there who will stay with you to make sure. You know, a lesson learned when I started Juriscope, I had a company, a web company at the time. Now that's 20 some years ago, but I had a web company at the time who did not understand the difference between nonprofit and profit. And they set me up as a nonprofit. And it wasn't until I went to the Small Business Association and learned about that the man who was there said to me, "You have your business set up as a nonprofit." And I said, "No, I'm for profit. I've never said nonprofit. I'm not, it's not a con." And he said, "No." He said, "No, Claire, you have it set up that way on the web." And so I had to go, we had to completely demolish that and websites are expensive and reset it up.
Yeah. Well, what your point about the business plan is, I always say, if you have a destination, we can build the roadmap to get there, because most legal nurse consultants, they hung out their shingle without a plan. They have no idea how to market or any of the business skills, but you have to have your destination, because then you can, just fill in the blanks on how to get there. But if you're just hanging out your shingle and wandering aimlessly, oh, how do I find an attorney? Or, it can be a very expensive process and not doesn't bear fruit. But a lot of people learn, just send out these blind packets to all the attorneys in your area who do medical malpractice, and the attorneys never see it. I get a ton of junk mail.
What I think is fun is when the nurse figures out that she doesn't really like malpractice. I've had a couple of nurses. I never personally, this is just between you, me, and the 50,000 that listen to this, but I never cared for malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
I loved personal injury. I mean, I was in my element. I felt so at ease in understanding that somebody had been hurt, and we weren't suing doctors and nurses, we weren't pursuing that kind of thing. So it was completely different, but it was very, very fun. And I love the words, "I'll take any case where injury is a question or an issue." Mm-hmm. So if you have a case where injury is an issue, you might be surprised at the many torts that they can come up with. Oh my goodness!
Oh, crazy! Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
And that's what a lot of nurses who want to be a legal nurse consultant, they think malpractice is the only area you can work in.
No.
It's not. There's so many areas.
Oh yeah.
So many others.
Yeah. I did work with automobile companies, insurance companies, and plaintiff attorneys that were for motor vehicle accidents, the method of injury. I mean, I just had a ball with this kind of stuff, and I still do. I still learn. I'm still learning. It's great fun.
Yeah,
great fun. Wonderful profession.
Well, Claire, thank you so much for being our guest today. I really appreciate it, and such great words of wisdom. And so until next time, you can stay tuned for our next guest, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
We'll see you in a little bit. Bye. Okay. Bye, everyone.